going to be very different from normal. I know for the previous 2 days we played a variety of different games. For those of you who are watching live, 2 days ago we played Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, and the day before that we played Gang Beasts. But today, well, we might play a game after we're done with this, but for right now, we are actually not going to be playing any games at all, as you might see by the description, just chatting, because today is going to be the first episode of a brand new series that I am starting, and I'm pretty excited about this. So give me a second to set up, and then I will explain what exactly is going to happen. So just give me a sec. Just gotta get stuff set up. But I'm really excited about this. This is an idea I've had for quite a while. Admittedly, I didn't really land on a name for this series until pretty recently, and even then, the special guest that's coming on was actually the one who helped me find the name for this. So, yeah, special shout outs to said guest, who I will introduce in a few minutes. I'm just getting the last few things set up. This is not a Wendy's. And yes, there is a plush Mega Man right there. And I have my Mega Man 30th anniversary pin in the background. So just give me a sec to get the final few things. Hold on. There. Let me see. Sorry, just give me one more second. I'm just having a little bit of trouble finding stuff. He's just sitting there menacingly. Although to be fair, I mean, actually, no, that is a little menacing, because Mega Man can shoot you with his Buster. I mean, he's blue right now, so it's not like he has a special weapon, but you know what I mean. If he was another color, he might have a special weapon. You can't really see it, but I also have my Mega Man Funko Pop sitting right next to me, so yeah, I have a couple of those. I'll showcase more of them with Collection Showcase if you guys redeem it. By the way, because this is not a gaming one, just keep in mind, he can bully in blue, yeah. Just keep in mind, if you guys redeem rewards that are, like, if you redeem NES controls, I'm not going to do it, because I'm not playing a game. But if you redeem Hydrate or something like that, yeah, I'll do it. Just keep that in mind. Just be careful what rewards you redeem this time around, because, like I said, we are not playing a game, at least right now. We might in a little bit. I'm surrounded by Mega Man. I have a lot of Mega Man figures and stuff. I have the, I am looking up my shelf. I can't really bring it down, because if I do, it'll fall apart. But I have the Grandista Mega Man figure, which is like a model of Mega Man, which is pretty cool. I also have another Mega Man Funko Pop, which I will show if someone redeems Collection Showcase. And hello everyone. Hello Mload. Hello Ninja. Hello Trashman. Hello Community Modgen. Again, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Modgen, I don't really know how that's pronounced, but if you correct me, I will try doing that in the future. Alright, I think we're just about good to go. So, alright, let me actually explain what... Alright, so we're good to go. So, let me explain what Irregular Interviews is first. Irregular Interviews is a new series that I am starting today that essentially is going to... You can call me Melody? Gotcha. Alright, we'll keep that in mind. So, Irregular Interviews is a new series that I am starting today that is going to be a series of interviews about the Mega Man franchise, as you can probably imagine, because I love this franchise. I will basically be interviewing various people from around the Mega Man community, whether they're community leaders or just fans. Usually it'll be content creators, but if you want to be on the show, you can direct message me and we'll see what we can do. Again, I would prefer if you create content about Mega Man to be on the show, but other than that, there's not really many restrictions on there. So yeah, I just want to interview a variety of people around the Mega Man fan base to get their thoughts on the games and about I guess the series in general, because Mega Man is such a vast franchise that I really feel this is important to get different perspectives on it. Obviously, my perspective has been put out there, with all my live streams and whatnot. We still got so many Mega Man games to play, but I want to get other people's perspectives too, and I want to share them with you all. So that is why I'm going to have different special guests every time. In addition, the reason it's called Irregular Interviews is because these will happen at irregular times. So it's not going to be every month or week or whatever. It's just going to be random. If someone wants to come on, there'll be an interview. That's pretty much it. So just keep that in mind. And the other reason why it's called Irregular is because in the Japanese version of Mega Man X, or I guess Rockman X in this case, the Mavericks are called Irregulars. Like that's their official name in Japan. So, and that's also, and by the way, the Maverick Hunters are called Irregular Hunters in Japan. So I get it's kind of a double meaning, you know, irregular like the Mavericks and irregular as in infrequent. So there you go. I just thought that was a good pun, and also just keep in mind that the special guest coming on was actually the one who suggested this to me. So thank you again to said special guest, who I'm actually going to introduce in just a minute. Are we going to see Dan Root? Perhaps. If he wants to come on, I would definitely love to get his perspective on the franchise. And yeah, I think we're just about ready to introduce our guest. I'm actually going to take a little bit of water, though. I know no one redeemed hydrate, but I'm pretty thirsty, so. All right. So, our guest today is actually in the chat already. And it is actually TrashManStreams is our very first guest and is the one who came up with the idea of irregular interviews. So, hope you all will give a warm welcome to Trashman because he is our first guest and I will get on the Discord call with him shortly. But first I have to stretch and posture check because Shivas redeemed those. Yep, Trashman is the first guest. All right. Let's do this. All right, let me just call him. All right, just let me know if you guys can hear him and everything. All right, Trashman, you there?
Yeah, right here.
All right, just can everyone hear Trashman? Just to make sure. Trashman, you might want to speak a little bit.
Hi, it's me.
So, can everyone hear that just before we start the interview? Because I obviously do not want... Actually, I'm going to turn my light on as well. But he sounds a bit low. All right. I'm going to turn up the desktop volume then. You can hear him, but he's a bit quiet. All right, let's try this. Try speaking again.
Hi, it's me, the guy that decided to come on the show. That's
All right, how about that? Is that good? I just literally turned up the volume. Just want to make sure before we start. And remember, you guys can interact with this as well. If you guys have something to say in the chat, feel free and I'll try and read it.
And I'll try and comment on that.
Yep.
Comment you make.
It's good, but could be a tiny bit louder. Unfortunately, I don't know if I can make it louder, but I will certainly try.
Try and speak up. I'll try and just speak louder.
All right, let me open the volume mixer. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to turn Discord's volume up. All right, try now.
Hi.
All right, that should be a little bit better. I just turned the sound system up. All right, nice. So we're going to get started then. And I think a very appropriate first question, which will, spoiler alert, basically be the first question I ask in every single one of these interviews, is what was the first Mega Man game you ever played, and how did you find out about the Mega Man franchise in general?
Okay, so it all starts, it was 04, the first game I played. It started, I think, back in 2018. I was on a trip to Puerto Rico with my family. I had a thing, I don't remember, I think it was an emulator of sorts, and I found the game online, I got it, and I played, that was the game I played the most on that trip, on my flight, and the whole time I was in Puerto Rico for that week. And it was, I believe, yeah, it was like a week. So I played it, despite the fact I played it for like a long time, I never got past Craft. I couldn't get past that first Craft fight. I just gave up after that. And after several months, I went back to it. I beat the game. I went to 03, beat it again. Then I went to the X Games, stopped at 3, eventually got the 0 collection, got the X Legacy collections, and then just went from that to where I am right now.
Ninja says Craft's a toughie, and I definitely agree with that. Craft can be a very difficult boss fight for newer players to understand. And the fact that 04 is your first game makes it really difficult for you to get past that mid stage boss for sure.
I didn't even know how to dash at that point. I didn't play platformers, so I had no clue how to do anything. I just knew how to shoot the gun. That's all I could do.
That's impressive that you got through, like, what is that, the first half of the game almost without dashing?
6 stages.
Yeah, 6 stages without dashing. That's pretty impressive, actually.
I was save scumming a lot though. Like every time I do something good, I just save because.
Hey, that's fair. I understand. You know, the games can be difficult if you need to save state at first. That's fine. You know. I like to think of them as training wheels, where the better you get at the Mega Man games, the less and less you'll need save states, so eventually you don't need them at all.
I can just beat the game nowadays with like no save states, or even when I do collection, I can just turn off the save points. I've gotten that better. I've gotten that good with that game, but
Yeah,
not. I can't say the same
yeah.
about any other game.
So obviously, Zero Four was your first game, but how did you then? So you talked a little bit about how you then went to Zero Three, and then you played X1 through X3, if I remember correctly. What other Mega Man games have you experienced? And do you have a particular favorite Mega Man game from those you've experienced? Like, what was your journey throughout the series?
Okay, so after getting to X3, I kind of took a bit of a break there. Then once I started, like, I had one day I was playing on my PlayStation, as I do now. I looked up the Mega Man, I think Mega Man Zero, because I wanted to see if it was on, because I heard there was a collection, I just wasn't sure yet. So I found the game, I got it. I played those four. I played the ZX games. I haven't beaten Zero, One, or Two, or any of the ZX games. I'm still working with that sort of thing. Then I got the X Legacy collections. I played all of those. Eventually, going into Classic Series, I think the order I played the Classic was 7 to 2, then 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 8. Then getting both Legacy collections, and then playing the ones I didn't play at that point. And I think I've only played a few spin-offs at that point. After that, like Extreme Games, I played Mega Man Soccer, Mega Man and Base. What else did I? And Battle I've only gone to the first game, but I still did those ones.
That's fair. Battle Network's a little bit harder to play nowadays, considering it's only on the Wii U, basically, if you don't have a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
So why don't you play 7 first? That's an interesting game to start with, because I know a lot of people like to start with like 2 or 11 nowadays. 10's a popular one. Why 7?
I think it was definitely because I was getting more into like the SNES at that point, like with the emulator I was playing the extra games on. Because I had those three there, and I was loving all three of them. Those ones were like my top ones before eventually starting. I started getting more critical of the series. So I looked up Mega Man emulators or whatever for the SNES. I found 7. I got 7, and then I just played it from there. And I liked 7 enough, so I looked at the other franchise, the rest of the series, went to the 6 classic games I played.
That's interesting actually, because I know a lot of people do that in kind of the reverse order. But I guess you're kind of one of your things is playing all the games in an unorthodox way, which is pretty cool actually.
Of a reverse order, going to 0 to X and then classic.
Yeah, exactly. But that's cool. It gives you it gives you a different perspective than a lot of other people have because they play because everyone's like, oh, you should play 2 first or 11 first or start with the classic series or start with the X series. Not a lot of people start with 0, which is to an extent there's a reason for that. But that's also interesting that you started with 0.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite Mega Man game? If you had to pick one, like just if someone straight up asked you, what would your response be?
I think every time someone asks me, I'll just say X2. X2, like I don't know how, but I just clicked with that game. I loved it so much. It's still my favorite since I played it, and even now.
X2 is pretty great. I'll agree to that. Do you have a favorite boss in that game?
Definitely going with Overdrive Ostrich. It's like was the first guy I played on that stage. I probably think I did another stage before that, but he was the first guy I beat, and he's the guy I always start with, like tradition. Like I play X2, you start with Overdrive Ostrich. There's no way you can change my mind on that sentence there.
Shivas agrees, by the way, that X2 is awesome, and yeah, I do too. X2 is great. Yeah, Ostrich is a pretty good starting place actually. You do have to be a little bit careful because the towards the end the what's it the bike section. I'm forgetting the name of the bike.
Uh, Chaser.
Ride chaser. So the ride chaser section, you have to be a little bit careful there because there's a bunch of bottomless pits, and obviously you can't get the upgrade at the end on the first time through if you do that first because you need Wheel Gator's weapon, the spin wheel. But you can still get you can't really get the heart tank either. But it's a pretty simple stage to get through, and yeah, it's not super difficult to be Overdrive Ostrich himself. So that's a good starting stage, and you made a good choice for a Maverick, for a favorite Maverick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Shivas also says I absolutely love almost everything about X2, and yeah, X2 is great. The only thing I don't like about X2 is the X Hunters. They really annoy me.
Honestly, find them much more of a trivial thing at this point. Like I just do it sometimes if I don't want to fight 0. Like I did a no armor run recently. I just I went through the pain of fighting those 3 guys, so I didn't have to do the 0 fight because I'm not good at that. No matter how many times I do it, I still suck at it.
And also, welcome to. Ooh, I apologize if I pronounce this wrong. Amiwa, if or Amewa, Amewa. Again, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. But Amewa starts with Crystal Snail, which is a very interesting choice because Snail could, at least in my opinion, Snail could be a little difficult to deal with just because of the fact that he can hide in his shell without
Kind of
his
more of an
weakness. That's
attrition
really
thing.
interesting. But
Looking
that's
at
true. You
attrition
can get a lot of
to
the
be honest.
collectibles. So good choice. Yeah, hello. Yeah, we're just talking about Mega Man. If you wanted to jump in on the conversation, just type in the chat and I'll definitely read it out as we're talking with my special guest here, TrashMan. And Ninja starts with Wire Sponge, which is also who I start with.
There's a lot of different things. X2, I've got it. I can just start with any boss. Like Wire Sponge, I think is definitely what the people making the game wanted you to start with because the hard tank, the sub tank, they're the most obviously placed things in history. It's easy. And then the guy himself is simple, and even without his weakness.
I don't know if I would say the Heart Tank is the easiest to find. It's the easiest to get, obviously, because you just wall jump up the wall to the left. But that's not really easy to find. You wouldn't think to look there unless you have like the headpiece and you happen to be scanning it.
Yeah, that is true. But it's like compared to the other ones, it's that takes the least amount of effort when you know where it is.
That's fair. It's definitely the easiest one to collect. I certainly agree there because obviously it's like what 2 or 3 wall jumps. That's really easy, but to find it is not necessarily so simple on your first playthrough. The sub tank though, yeah,
Yeah.
sub tank's really easy.
Yep.
Community Modchen says they've only ever played Mega Man 2. I assume you mean the classic game in this case, which, fair enough. I know that's the best selling Mega Man game. I think it's like 1.41 million units. I'd have to double check that. But I know it's definitely the best selling Mega Man game, and that's completely fair. But I do recommend at least trying Mega Man X, get the Legacy Collection, I guess, because it's actually, by the way, Mega Man X, all the Mega Man games are actually on sale right now on the Nintendo Switch. They're like half off. So if you want to get some Mega Man games on the Switch, now is a great time to do so. But I do recommend at least trying out Mega Man X just because the series is definitely pretty good to get into newcomers to get into for newcomers, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, sorry about that little tangent.
That's fine.
Played it on your 3DS. I assume you got the 3DS Virtual Console in that case, the 3DS Virtual Console version, because if you have Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 on 3DS, you could be able to get 1 through 6. And actually, speaking of which, Trash Man, what consoles do you play Mega Man on? Do you have a like particular favorite or not really?
Since I have 2 consoles I've played Mega Man on. I have the PlayStation 4 where I've played every single one from Classic X and Zero and ZX, and then a Xbox 360 where I have 9 and 10 digitally bought. I have those not really to play them, but more like a little thing like, hey, I have this, like I have it right here. Right.
That's completely fair because I mean, as we all know, digital storefronts are pretty fickle, and at some point they will eventually be delisted. Just because, for example, the WiiWare is no longer online, so you can't get the Wii versions of 9 and 10 anymore. And if I remember correctly, I do still think you can get the PS3 versions of 9 and 10, but I don't think you can buy them from like the internet. I think you have to actually go into the store on PS3 to do that. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong there, but at least it's what I remember. And then that being said, the Xbox 360 versions are actually still up online. So if you want to get the original Xbox versions, you totally can. And that is really
like
cool that you have that.
Bucks. It's like $24 for both games combined, as well as the DLC, if I'm correct.
Yeah, because unlike in Legacy Collection 2, you do have to buy the DLC individually because, that was their original release.
I don't really find an issue with that, to be honest. I mean, if I'm already getting the games and I have like $50 on my account, I think it's just not really much of a waste of money for like $2 to get some good DLC to play an entirely new character.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the DLC on 9 and 10 aren't very expensive. I think Proto Man mode is like $1 or $2, and I think Hero and Superhero mode are $1, if I remember correctly. Yeah. It's been a little while. I remember when I got them because I had a Wii at that point, so I used the Wii Shop points, but I think it translated to about $1 or $2 for each, and then 10 had base as a DLC.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. 9 also had the special stage. I forgot about that. And so did 10 for that matter. 10 had 3 special stages where you could play as Anchor Punk and Ballad, or play against Anchor Punk and Ballad, the Mega Man killers. So actually, speaking of which, do you have a preferred playable character in Mega Man 10 between Rock Blues and Forte?
Probably bass. I find him to be. I don't know why. I just think that since he's like the only other time I think you can play as him is in Mega Man in bass, and since that game is a no-no, I like to just play 10 as him. So, maybe it's a bit of a preference thing because you can play as Proto Man in I think 9. You can play him as 9 is the harder mode, but I just want to play bass because bass is kind of cool. I kind of like bass.
That's fair. Bass is a really cool character to play as. He's definitely pretty unique. And yeah, Ninja587 is laughing. You said and bass is a no. Did you have as bad of a time as I did when I streamed that game?
Well, unlike you, I actually played the GBA on the smallest screen I had at that point.
Oh God. Oh
So,
no.
let's say I maybe had a worse time. I had a worse time. I did.
Yeah.
I
And
had
based
one.
on Game Boy Advance as you said, it's definitely a no. That game is not good.
I hated the screen crunch. It was just so bad.
So bad.
I
My
I
bad, Mega
wouldn't
Man
present.
X15. Just delete. I posted in the wrong chat. That's my bad. You can delete that. Apologies. Um, yeah, that definitely must have been painful. Did you get all 100 CDs, or were you like, no, I'm done?
I think I went to a few of them. I got like 50, but then for the rest of them, I just watched the video you made about looking at them all. I just watched those to see what I missed out on. I definitely
That
want to get the Star Droid ones because I love the Star Droids. I love the Mega Man 5, even if I haven't played at that point.
five on Game Boy is so good. It's one of the most underrated games in the whole franchise. I love that game.
I think from what I've kind of established, like from what I've heard, I think that I just thought I don't remember how I think I described it once as robot cultists with a sun themed god fight Mega Man. That's how I thought of it.
It's a good description, actually. I like that.
I mean, it makes sense at that point if you think about it.
Yeah, you're
Does
right.
that
I
make
mean,
sense?
just that game has really good level design. It made really good use of the Game Boy because even though it was monochrome the whole way through, unless you used a Super Game Boy, obviously, but it was designed with the monochrome palette in mind. The background still looked really good. They kind of popped out in a way that none of the other Game Boy games really accomplished. I'd say 4 came pretty close, but 5 is the one that really nailed what a Game Boy Mega Man game should look like. And
It had a bunch of original bots too.
and
A
yes,
bunch
the
of
Star
original
Droids are
mods.
amazing. You are absolutely right. Like, all of them had a really cool personality. I love their designs. Oh, I love Mega Man 5 Game Boy. Sorry if I talked over you there.
It's fun.
And yeah, Shivas agrees. 5 is one of my favorite. Is one of his top 5 Mega Man games, and I would actually agree with that. It is a. I would actually say it's one of my top 5 Game Boy games in general. It's just really made great use of the hardware, and that is a shame, Ninja 587, because pretty much the only way to play 5 at this point is to get the 3DS Virtual Console version because yeah, the cartridge is very expensive. I'll put it that way.
And since there's a collection for all 5 of them, and that's only on on a Nintendo console, I'm kind of getting flipped off here. I can't fight Star Droids. I have to fight Mavericks. I have to fight normal Robot Masters. I have to do that. I can't
and
fight you guys. I can't.
and Mutos and slash Pseudoroids because you have the Zero ZX Legacy Collection.
That is true. Though that is true.
Oh, Ninja says, "Good thing I have a 3DS." Fair enough. I think I have mine somewhere in this room. But yeah, Mega Man 5 is just it's so good. Here's hoping for a Game Boy Mega Man collection. Hey, I completely agree with you. There was going to be one on the Game Boy Advance, but unfortunately it got canceled because they lost the source code to the Game Boy games, which is just how did you mess that up? How did you mess that up?
There was a collection. I could have done it on an emulator. I could have maybe Mega Man 5 could have been the first one I played. That could have been a possibility, but no, they messed up. They this is why I sometimes hate when things get like they get canceled.
Yeah, it just it sucks because they were gonna be in like full color and everything, and it would have looked amazing. Like there's some beta screenshots out there that I'm sure you guys can find. I think Proto Dude from Rockman Corner had a couple of screenshots out there, and it looked incredible. And it's just I would have loved to I would have loved to have that collection. I think it was going to be released for Game Boy Advance if I remember correctly. Also, Ninja says technically it's a new 2DS Nintendo. You suck at naming. Yeah, that's fair. Oh man, just that. I think it was called Mega Man Mania if I remember correctly. That would have been awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit, and I say that very intentionally. What did you think about the most recent entry in the series, Mega Man 11, which came out about 3 years ago at this point?
So I played 11. I haven't beaten it currently. I've been thinking of saving that for a future stream when I finally beat it in like first time. I played it a bit. I enjoy it a lot. I like it's really good. It's like a updated version of the older games. It takes what's good and then puts it into a newer game that kind of makes like it's just an updated version of an older one, but with a lot of it's really good. The gear mechanic, the robot masters, they're a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to play the game, weapons and all that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Oh, Shivas says the collection would have been a good way to play the series, and it would have lowered the price of the OG cartridge. I agree with that. And Ninja587 says, "Oh yeah, 11 came out 3 years ago. Man, I remember that when that game was new." Hey, same here. It feels like time just completely flew by. Although really, it's more like 2.5 years because it was October 2nd, 2018. But you know what I mean.
Ironic
Um,
that the game came out around the same time when I went to Puerto Rico. So like the game came out, I found Mega Man.
there you go. By the way, so wait, how far did you get in 11 then? Because you did say you didn't beat it yet.
I think I've only gotten to Blockman. I've beaten Blastman, but I'm only on the second boss of the game.
Oh, so
I played all the
you
stages.
started with Blast Man. That's interesting.
I played all 8 stages. I got a game over. I eventually just gave up on that playthrough. I lowered the difficulty. I know because I didn't really want to do the second hardest difficulty in the game because I thought I could do that, but I can't. Yeah, I'll admit that. So I played lower difficulty and I beat Blastman. Somehow I did him first, and I just haven't really gotten back to that game yet to play the rest of it. But I'll probably do it eventually. Probably.
Hey, that's completely fair if you need to lower the difficulty. As Ninja587 in the chat said, 11 is quite tough, and yeah, absolutely right. 11 can definitely throw a lot of obstacles at you that you wouldn't normally expect. I think the most egregious is probably Torchman's instant death fire. That does seem like it's a bit excessive at certain points, but
Kind of,
yeah, no
it's kind of
no
like Burner
shame in
Man.
lowering the difficulty. I mean, there's a reason there's four difficulties there, being newcomer, casual, normal, and superhero. So
It's normal called normal if it's hard. It should be called hard then. That doesn't make sense. That's like unconventional naming. It's tricking me to think that the game's gonna be
technically,
pretty normal.
it's called norm. I forget if that's the actual name of it. I want to say it was normal, but I believe the reason it's called normal is because in the Japanese version, it is actually called original spec, and that stands for like basically normal is supposed to be the difficulty of the NES Mega Man games. So when you see normal, that you basically what Capcom wants you to think is okay, this is about the same level of difficulty as like 1 through 6, essentially. Or to be more accurate, I think they were thinking a little more along the lines of like 2 or 3.
I always had a hard time with
The,
three.
the, the way I would phrase it is normal is like 2 or 3. I'd say casual is more like 4 or 5. Newcomer is like 10 easy mode. Newcomer is really easy, and then superhero is like and base. It's really hard.
And based on the Game Boy Advance screen
Yes.
crunch, but with the smallest screen you ever have.
Yes, it is. It is very difficult. There are no. There's like one checkpoint. I think you get no health recovery, and I don't think there's any extra lives either. So you're basically entirely relying on the shop. It is. It is really hard. I did actually beat it, but it was a difficult challenge, especially because all the bosses, their attack speed is increased. So just I'm gonna leave you the thought with think about the Yellow Devil, but it's increased speed by like uh 2 times.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure never to play superhero mode then. I don't want that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, admittedly. Ninja587 clarifies this by saying extra lives are in superhero along with tanks, but that's it. Fair enough. So there are no health recoveries, but you can get e-tanks. So because I know the shop is definitely in the superhero, it's in every difficulty, but yeah, Yellow Devil on superhero is really hard, and don't do it unless you really know what you're doing because it is tough.
Always trying to
Just,
keep bringing it back. Just keep bringing a devil back. Like you
just
had
keep, yeah.
first one, then you had I think three had a devil.
Yep.
Went on further. Can't remember where the next one. I definitely know five Game Boy had one. X5 had one. Why does five keep having like a really annoying super hard boss? Every five has it. Then uh, Zero had Rainbow Devil for one and two. I don't remember if ZX had any, but then I went. There's a lot of devils.
There are definitely a lot of devils. Oh, welcome Sans Gaming Unofficial, and I don't know why an ad interrupted the stream. That should not happen because I thought I turned that off, but whatever. Um, and Ninja587 says if you can if Ninja can beat X6 as Naked X, you can beat 11 on Superhero, and I definitely agree with that. If you can beat X6 as Naked X, yeah, you can definitely beat 11 on Superhero. And he also says that ZX had the Lava Demon, which yes, that is also a devil. You are correct. And then yeah, you mentioned all the rest of the devils. The the original Yellow Devil in 1, Mark 2 and 3, Green Devil in 8, also in and base for that matter. There's the Yellow Devil Mark 3 and 11. There is the Shadow Devil in X5, and then the Rainbow Devil in 01 and 02. Although there is also, if you want to be really technical, and also Dark Moon in 5, but if you want to be really technical, there's also the new Yellow Devil, which is basically from Super Adventure Rockman. If you want to get really if you want to get really deep into it, then yes, you also have that. And you're right, we also have Twin Devil and Block Devil from 9 and 10 respectively. There's a lot of boomos.
There's Nightmare Devil, I think, from 6. Is that his name? Nightmare Devil?
I don't know. I think that's the Nightmare Mother if you're referring to the boss of the first gate stage.
Then I think it's Nightmare Mother, I believe.
Yeah. Although that boss is also really hard, although for really the wrong reasons. I freaking hate Nightmare Mother.
At the same time, X6's bosses are either really easy or like they're a pain to fight. Like every gate stage has a horrible boss. You have Nightmare Mother, IMAX, and then you have Gate, and then Sigma's easy, which is really weird how every stage before it is really hard, and then Sigma's just a really easy guy. Like he's like punch him once, he's dead.
Yeah, that is a bit weird that Hell Sigma is definitely a lot easier with because you can just use Metal Anchor to just demolish him.
Bully the man with an anchor.
With an anchor. Actually, that's a good segue into my next question, which is, what is your least favorite Mega Man game?
I'm probably going to say something that people are going to get mad at me about. I'm not a big fan of 9, Classic Series 9. I don't really like it.
Oh, those are fighting words. It's one of my favorite games, but go on, explain why.
I honestly find most of it to be not enjoyable. Like I really enjoy 8 and 10. 10 is probably one of my more favorites. Like the Classic Series, it's 4, 10, and 11 are the ones I enjoy the most. And I love the roster of like 10. There's some things like in 9, Hornet Man, and Jewel Man. I enjoy those guys, but most of the other bosses are either kind of boring for me or like uninteresting, or I just don't. I find them more of a pain to deal with. I don't really enjoy that game. It's sort of like it's good. I can see why people like it, but for me, I just don't really like going back to it or really playing the game or saying too much about it. Just like the game I don't really like playing. I will play it, but just I wouldn't say I would play this at any moment at any time of my life.
That's fair. 9 is definitely one of the more difficult games in the series, just in general, just because of how much it throws at you. And as you said, the Fortress bosses can be a little bit better, or they could have been better. I will definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, is that your least favorite Mega Man game in general, or just in the classic series?
I think that's one of my least favorites, like generally. But if you want to go technical for like Zero, X, I dislike X. X6 is my least favorite, pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Then I don't really enjoy 02 that much. Like I will play it probably more than 9, but but it's not like compared to the other 3, which I find really good. 1 is a bit janky sometimes, but 2 I just find it to be like not as really good. It's good, just not as good as 3 or 4 in my opinion.
That's fair, and actually Ninja agrees with you in the chat. He says it's like me with 02. Yeah, I know. And I'll admit 02 definitely has its moments where it doesn't quite work as intended, and that's just a matter of the game got developed in like what, a couple months if I remember correctly. But yeah, you're definitely right about that.
And there is enjoyable parts. Powerbomb is one of my absolute favorite themes and bosses of stages and bosses in the series because it's just like something clicks and makes you like it. I love it. I love it. It's fun. It's fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Zero Two is a really good game in general, but like compare it to the other Zero games, especially 3 and 4, and it's not. I feel like it's not as good. Hey, Landy, how you doing?
Level up system is still fun. Level
Two
up
and a half
system is still
months.
kind of as a pain. Yeah.
Apparently, it was
I
developed
mean, a
in.
game can be developed in a short time.
Sorry, what were you saying?
A game can be developed in a short time, but still be good. Like X2 and 3, they were developed in like around a year or so, if I remember correctly. But they're
I believe
still
you're
pretty
right.
good. They're pretty all right. They're not bad. Like I said, X2 is my favorite. So a game can have a short time of development, but still be have high quality of a game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Zero Two is still a great game, and as Ninja 587 says, it was developed in about 2.5 months, according to that. So that's very interesting. And Seven especially was developed in like only like 3 or so months, if I remember correctly, which is absurd. Honestly, that is not enough time to develop a video game for the most part, but still, that's interesting. I know that there's deadlines to me, but that's a little absurd. Is 3 months. And I know you said you really like the and Shiva says with 7 they even managed to put in a multiplayer mode. Have you actually played the multiplayer mode by any chance in 7?
Uh, I've heard about it a lot. I've heard you guys talk about it quite a bit. I've never tried it out. I don't know how to really do it, so I just don't really touch it. I would like to see how to do it, but I'm not really thinking of going ever into it because I don't have people play. I don't have anyone else in like my general friend group that like I can see in person. I can play Mega Man 7 with. So it's kind of like a lost cause at that point. Just play it by myself then.
That's fair. And even then, it's a little. If you're wondering how to get to the multiplayer mode, you have to input a certain password on the screen. If you input it normally, it gives you like full e tanks and lives and bolts going into the first Wily stage. But you have to hold L and R when you input the password or whatever LB RB, you know what I mean, on your controller.
Yeah.
And then when you press start, you'll get to the versus screen, and then you can choose either Mega Man or Base and play.
So it's like a racing thing or something. Like both players will play the game at the same time, or
No, it's more of a fighting game because Mega Man and Base have like different fighting game moves they can do. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but you can basically just try and whittle down your opponent's HP, and whoever survives the longest wins. Whoever is the last robot standing, I suppose.
that's interesting. I'll try it out. I'll maybe bring someone on like doing real in person. I'll see if they want to try it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've done it a couple times, not too many times, but enough that I kind of know what I'm doing. Kind of. And apparently Shiva says in the 3DS Virtual Console you can have an option to switch to the second controller. That's very interesting. I did not know that. I presume that's not in any other version, just because you can already hook up a second controller. If you have a Switch, you can just grab your Switch Pro controller, then grab another controller, and then obviously you'll be fine there. But yeah, it's a pretty cool mode. I mean, not many Mega Man games have multiplayer modes. I think there's really only a couple. Obviously, Battle Network has a couple, but like in terms of the platforming games, it's pretty much just 7, the arcade games, and then Zero ZX Legacy Collection with Z Chaser. Speaking of which, what'd you think of
Yeah.
like Z Chaser?
I've got an S rank for almost every single stage in Z Chaser. I've been trying to do really well with them. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's like the challenges of sorts with classic series collections. So it's like that, but with zero games, but with like less options, of course. I enjoy it. Similar with like maybe 01 or 02. I'll play it, but I won't really I won't go back to it a lot. I'll just go play for like 30 minutes, maybe not, and then just get off and play something else.
That's fair. I mean, it's definitely a very short mode considering there's only 12, well, technically 13 stages in the mode. So,
And
the last one's a secret stage, but I don't want to spoil it if you haven't gotten them all yet.
I haven't gone that one, so
Yeah, I
I don't
won't spoil. I don't unlock it, but there is a secret stage that you can get if you reach a certain benchmark. And Ninja 587 is a complete mad lad and plays with Joy-Cons, which, wow.
That is interesting. That is an
Yeah,
interesting
Mega
way of
Man
putting
games
it.
on Joy-Cons is pretty hard because I'm not a huge fan of using. Definitely not going to use the control stick, but also I don't have my Joy-Cons right next to me. They're over there, but it is not a D-pad. It's more of like the buttons are individually separated, and I'm not a huge fan of that. And yeah, it makes it pretty difficult to play. Um,
I'm gonna just put my life on the limb out here. I have to admit, X7 is honestly really good from what I played. I find it to be
ooh,
one of my top 3 or 4 X games. I don't know. I
that's
don't once like I think I heard a lot of people like say it's the worst one. It's worse than X6. I saw like before I played it, I was kind of on that boat, but because I just heard everyone say like, okay, it's probably bad. So, but when I got Legacy Collection 2 because of the X7. I want to see if it lived up to what everyone said. Was it really that bad? I played it. First impressions and impressions now, I have to say, I kind of disagree with those people. I say the X7 is pretty good. I put it on a level with X5. It's flawed. It's flawed, but it's still an enjoyable experience. It's not the worst one. X6 is it's worse on a technical and opinion level in a sense, but X7 is definitely more like an X5 but 3D in a sense.
I would definitely agree that X7 as a game, it's not broken. It works. It's just not fun. Is the way I describe it because you're absolutely right that if you were to look at the gameplay mechanics, the game functions. It's not. It's not. I mean, it's not broken. There's not a huge amount of like stupid glitches or whatever. But by the same token, it's very. The level design's not great. It's very boring and I feel like the 3D stages at least don't work quite well. I'd say I would agree that the 2D stages can be decent-ish, but I disagree with the rest of that. But I'm curious. Do you like the 3D stages, or is it the 2D stages that make you have that opinion, or both?
Uh, I think it's definitely. I enjoy both sets. I have a weird thing where I will have less. I really try and be critical of things. Like I see the flaws. I try to, but I just keep trying to have fun. Like I don't. I like to ignore flaws, except for when the flaws are causing me to have physical pain in the game itself, like X6.
Hmm.
I don't really like that one. Like X7, I can go through it. I don't really see too much flaws. The weapons are okay, I guess. Then 3D stages, they're I still don't really see how they can like mess up on those sort of things because Legend was already a thing and they were already doing pretty good with 3D at that point. So honestly, maybe it was just a mess up on their part. But you know, still fine. It's still alright. 3D stages aren't the best. 2D are fine, but it's interesting how they kind of blended it together. So it's like kind of transitioning, but also kind of staying there, so it feels still kind of like a next game.
That's fair. Do you like Axel in that case? Because I know that was his debut game.
I honestly see him more as a like pre-X. Like if you don't before I get X, I just play as Axel. That's all I really do.
That's fair.
Mainly just because I like X. I want to play as X. His name is his name. It's called X7, so I want to play as X. And he's honestly better with his charge shots. It can kind of wreck bosses even when you have like 1 or 2 chips attached to him.
That's true. The glide armor is stupidly busted in that game.
Honestly, like go for chest and Buster headpiece. I don't remember what it does, and leg it doesn't really find. I don't really find it to be the most important piece
Well,
of
the
everything.
leg piece allows you to fly basically because you can glide through the air, and that really just eliminates most of the platforming challenge in the game. I actually also forgot what the headpiece does. I want to say it decreases the amount of energy it takes to use special weapons, but I could be wrong on that one. It's been a hot minute since I played X7 for reasons, but
Yeah.
I want to say it decreased the amount of energy that it took to do a certain special weapon, and I know that it's and as you said, the body armor decreases your damage, and then the charge shot is just yeah. As Ninja 587 says, X is a big boy charge shot in X7. It is stupidly powerful.
It's like 5 shots, boom, they're dead. They don't exist
Yeah, pretty
anymore.
much.
Blown up.
So you talked a little bit about Battle Network, and you said you haven't really gotten far into it. I think you said you played the first game.
I've gone to the first game. If I recall correctly, I had where I stopped like recently. I've beaten the first two sets. I've done the opening part, and then I've done the tutorial area, done the burning oven with firemen. I've got into the like school attack thing. I don't know what to call it. It's the section right after of the oven and fireman, but I haven't gone past that honestly because I'm a bit lazy and I just don't really. I just want to try other. I want to play some other Mega Man games. I enjoy Battle Network, which is like
That's
X.
fair. You were referring to the school, I presume. You know, the ACDC Town Elementary
Yeah,
School. That's fair.
ACDC
Also,
Elementary.
Ninja 587 says the headpiece gives you a larger pickup area, so you can pick up items from further. Yeah, that's not useful at all. That is almost
That
entirely
doesn't.
pointless.
The
And welcome
thing
and
I hate
focus.
about
Yes, the
X7
guest is
is
trash man.
I always hate the what's the word? The Reploids, because X5 they were invincible. X6 they died to the Nightmare Virus. Nightmare Virus was spammed, so it kind of became an issue. But at least the other enemies couldn't do anything. And then you have X7, where if they trip their little toe, they will just explode and never come back. And I hate that so much because I'm like taking damage and I'm just trying to get to those Reploids that I know are going to die if I take too long. And they just die anyway. Such
Uh,
a pain.
they're the worst, especially if you're going for that stupid achievement that requires you to get all of them. It is just, it is awful. It is so
I
awful.
just
Did
that's one
did
thing I
you
can definitely say it's not good.
did you get all the achievements in the legacy collections or not really?
I've been working on that. I've been wanting to have the day where I can send a message to one of the head monitors and say, "Look, I did it. I've gotten all the medals for all the games. I want to." I haven't done that yet, but I've gone like halfway. So expect something like that soon, man. Expect something like that soon.
Hey,
But
that's fair, man.
screenshot.
Just yeah, just keep at it. You'll definitely get it. And then of course you have the Google Doc that is pinned in the R Mega Man Discord server. I think it's in the X Series chat where you can just look at the.
I've kind of been referring to that, like to see what to do there.
Hey,
Because I
that's
don't
fair.
know how
That
to do most of this.
I'm glad you're doing that because it means that the guide that we wrote is good.
Means that it works.
Oh, yeah, Ninja. You're absolutely right. It is a very satisfying feel. Oh, sorry, it's a very satisfying feeling when you get them all. It really feels like you truly mastered the X games, which is awesome. Oh man, yeah, and I'm glad you guys are using the guide. That means a lot. You also talked about Legends a little bit. Have you played Legends or not really?
No. I've due to the fact that how I've only really getting to the more obscure Mega Man games due to emulators, and since there's no collection for Legends, and I don't really want to get through the hassle of buying one of those sort of like original discs of those games. I don't know the price, but I've heard they price you in some parts where I like to shop for those sort of things. So I've never really been touching them. I've heard a lot of good stuff. If they release a collection, I'll go for it. I'll try them out because I've seen it. I want to try it, but limitations in the sort of situation I've been living in doesn't really give me a viable option to get those sort of games.
That's fair. Legends, I would say Legends and Star Force are the two series that are the most difficult to play, just because they've never. Well, Legends did get re-released on the PS3, but it's also hard to get a PS3 because they're decently expensive, if I remember correctly, and also just the and Star Force has never been re-released ever, so you have to get a DS or a 3DS for that, which is a little difficult. And the cartridges, oh boy, the cartridges of Star Force are very expensive.
So yeah, I think if they ever release a collection, I'll get them, but I doubt that they ever will, because maybe I bet at least in my lifetime we'll get like one or two more collections, probably of a hopefully the Game Boy, like the handheld versions. Like I really want to see a collection of the Game Boy games and the Extremes games. I want to see like that, like a collection. Like it was similar to the Zero and ZX thing, like two different sets combined make a collection, 7 games. I want to see those 7 because I only play them by emulator. Actually, I've only played the stream by emulator, and I want to see those other 5. I want to play those 5. They seem pretty
That,
fun.
that's fair. And actually, speaking of collections, as of the time of this recording, we're recording this on March 17th. So Battle Network's 20th anniversary is in just a few days, 4 days to be precise. So here's the $1,000,000 question: do you think there will be a Battle Network Legacy Collection announced on March 20th? If so, when do you think it will release, and what do you think it will contain?
Okay, so I have obviously there's the yes or no thing. So I think they'll probably do it, but if they do, they're only gonna do maybe the first few games. They'll probably do 1 through 5 or 1 through 4, similar to what they did. I think it's gonna be similar to like Legacy Collection 1 and 2 for Classic Series. It's they'll have like half the games in one and the other half in the second collection. I think it's probably gonna do like not time challenges or something like that because that seems kind of weird for a Battle Network game. Maybe something similar to the X collection where you fight two different what are they called when we're Navis at
Navis.
once, like something like
Net
that.
Navis.
Yeah. Yeah, fight two net Navis at once. Fight two of those guys once. And then that's my guess. I hope that happens because if it does, that'll be cool. I want to see those games, you know? I've only
Oh
played one
boy.
and I haven't gone far, so.
Fighting two net Navis at once sounds pretty hard because some of those guys are not particularly easy. I'm remembering what was it? Base.exe is in pretty much every Battle Network game, and he is really challenging in almost all of them. But then you got stuff like freaking Alpha and Battle Network 3, and I remember the Side Beasts in Battle Network 6. Jesus Christ. Fighting those two at the same time would be almost impossible. Like,
Yeah.
oh God. I mean, I guess it could work, but yeah, my worry is that maybe that would be a little too difficult. I guess X Challenge or an equivalent of X Challenge for Battle Network could work a little bit better than the original X Challenge, as Ninja 587 says, because it might allow the developers to kind of layer the attacks better because it's not a platformer, it's an action RPG, but still, I just fighting two Navis at once, especially some of the more difficult Navis, like I'm trying to remember what were the really difficult ones. I remember Kingman was really annoying, as was what's it? One guy from Battle Network 4. Uh, it was during the tournament arc. It was Blue Sun or Blue Moon. Sorry, I was the last one in Blue Moon. I can't remember. The last guy in the tournament arc was really difficult, but I haven't played Battle Network in so damn long. But yeah, so it's a little. That would definitely be quite challenging for sure.
Or possibly, if you think about it, they could just have like a Navi, but with like maybe one or two like generic enemies with them. You know, add a bit more challenge, but at the same time, it's not so difficult that you'll never be able to do it.
That could work. How much do you think the Battle Network collections are going to cost then?
To be honest, with a lot of collections, like the Zero collection took $40 out of my pocket, so that's a wait. That's like a lot, and the content is like similar to the X game, so I don't really see like the price thing there. Maybe it's because of the whole, the fact that these games are much more obscure. So I'm gonna lean maybe more if they're gonna have the more games. I'm betting probably in the $25 to $40 price range, like $30 to $40 price range if it's going with Battle Network. Might lower or raise depending on like other stuff, but definitely that sort of area.
That's fair. And by the way, we are actually coming up on the 1 hour mark, so we're gonna start winding it down. But is there any other Mega Man topic you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to bring up? Something you just wanted to say? Anything along those lines?
Yeah, Mega Man Soccer. I've played that. I've had a few screenshots of me completely beating up these robots. I've beaten the league. I've done tournament, league, and that sort of stuff. I have perfect scores for all of them. If you
If,
want a screenshot, just hit me up. I'll show you. I will send those. I will.
well, you have
I
perfect
will.
scores.
I don't think perfect scores, but like I've done like a tournament where I haven't lost a single game. I won every single one I did there. I played
Well,
for like a solid month. That was how long I did it. Just a
per,
month long.
so wait, well, how do you define perfect score? Because I define perfect score as the opponent doesn't score anything. Like it's something nil, something zero.
I think my perfect score is definitely where they can score like one or two, but I find perfect score as never losing a single game. Or even if I
That
like if or having like if it's a tie, like have like my score probably be like five or up if it's a tie then.
that's still nuts. Like the fact that you never lost a game in Mega Man Soccer, because that those
Yeah, it
physics are
was
very janky.
janky, I will admit, and I played them on a really weird controller and a really weird screen, so it was kind of harder. I had a few runs where I was at the very last one. I think I was fighting one of the teams with that had Dr. Wily on it. Bro, Wiley is overpowered. If you have him on the team, you're going to win that game. But if they have Wiley, guess what, buddy? You're kind of screwed because he's like Mega Man, like balanced stats, but take that, but then make him more overpowered. And then it just breaks the whole thing. So I had to fight Wiley, and then like I think for tournament I had the last team I fought was Wiley. It was just Wiley himself. There was three Wileys. I won by 1 point. I won by one last point. And I'm gonna say, shout out to Snake Man on my team. That one Snake Man, he got me that goal. He won me that game.
Yeah, Dr. Wily was actually supposed to. So he's not playable in Mega Man Soccer, but he was supposed to be. And the reason for that, and this is also the reason why there's no credits sequence, is because of a programming error where the credits literally don't play. You just go back to the main menu because you're supposed like the credits are supposed to play, but due to a really small programming error, they don't, and that's why Wily never unlocks because it's triggered by the credits. Like, if you restore the credits, Wily unlocks as normal. And yes, he is completely busted. He has like the maximum of all stats.
I think it's in league. I think some teams in one of the modes. I don't remember which one, but yeah, some of the teams have Wily, and I think the team I chose that got the perfect score had Wily. I think it was Dustman's team on that. I don't remember if it was league or tournament that had Wily, but I chose Dustman. Won Wily. He was kind of the main guy who led that team at that point because he was like completely bullying. The other team did pretty good too. We had a team effort, but Wiley was kind of like a team captain at that point. But,
Yeah, Wily definitely destroys a lot of the. I mean, if he's on your team, if you mod him, I don't want to say mod him in because you can, like I said, if you get the credits working, you can get him legitimately. But if you have Wiley on your team, it's just completely busted. But if the AI does, good luck.
I think the main goal I had in those games that I had Wiley on, I just had it was make sure the team doesn't score, obviously. But then if we have like a special shot left in my inventory, I think it was like 2 or 3 you could have on the beginning. Just pass it to Wiley and then make him score. Make sure it's a clear shot, but then make him shoot. Because then it just completely gets rid of the goalie. The goalie is no longer a problem. If you kick it from the whole other side of the field, it doesn't work then. But if you have it like in like the same sort of on their side of the field, you do the special shot with Wiley. It's like Mega Man's, but just I don't even know if it's not. It's just a Mega Man special shot, but since it's Wiley, it's cooler because Wiley's kind of cool.
Wiley, you wouldn't expect a mad scientist to be really good at soccer, but I guess we learn new things every day.
New things every day, exactly.
All right, well, I think that just about wraps up this discussion. Trashman, where can everyone find you? If you want to plug anything, now's the time. And by plug, I don't mean plug, man. Plug as in, self-promote.
Obviously. So, if you want to message me on Discord, you want to have your own conversation about Mega Man with me, just hit me up on Discord. I'm in the server. You can find me. I'll do something probably. You want to see me live on Twitch? Just find it. I'm on hiatus right now, so please don't get mad at me if I don't stream for a month or two. And on YouTube, I don't use that either, so do that. Just be cautious. Err on the side of caution at some point, saying how like I don't do stuff. Don't worry too much. I'm just lazy. I'm just really lazy. So I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for bringing me on, man. And I hope I will see you all soon.
Hey, it's no problem. So thank you all so much for stopping by with this stream. I really appreciate it. I'm actually gonna go offline for just like a minute just to set some things up, and we're gonna do something else when I come back. So for those of you who are watching the VOD version, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Expect more of these interviews in the future at irregular times. It is called Irregular Interviews after all. And for those of you who are watching live, just stick around for some other stuff. So anyways, I'm 112 signing out for 5 minutes or now. So see you guys later.